What advice would you give to somebody who is actively thinking about making that step now? Perhaps they've never done it before, they've never sat on a board of any form before.
Yeah. So, one of the, I think for a particular individual when thinking about that, so in a previous charity, we worked with Lloyds Bank, and Lloyds Bank had a scheme where they would encourage their senior executives to volunteer for charities. So there was a sort of matching process where people offered up, if you're interested, let the bank know, and then we would get to meet them. So I got to meet this amazing guy who worked for Lloyds Bank, who had thought, he was pretty high up, and he'd been thinking about how he could do something slightly different. So we met up, he talked about the work he did, we talked about the work the charity did. It felt like there was a match, and he said, okay, I'll give it a try. I'll come along as an observer to your board. And he really liked it. And one of the conversations we had was that actually it was very similar to the work that he did. He'd imagined that charities would be somehow very different, that the skills that he had wouldn't be relevant, but actually the skills that you need in business are exactly the same as the ones you need in charity. And I think there's a bit of a prejudice sometimes about what charities are, what they're trying to do. So I often use the phrase social business rather than charity. If you explain that it's a business with social objectives, I think you can get a lot of common ground on that.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've helped companies hire chairs, build foundations, and actually what you tend to see is it's all the same corporate expertise, it's all the influencing capability, it's all the thinking, it's all the governance, all the same things you'd need to be successful in any space.
And so I think I say if the advice I'd want to give to someone is that if you're thinking about that, offer your services. And if you've got those kind of skills and you've worked not in the charity sector, the charities are crying out for the skills that you've got. Don't be reluctant, don't hold back. Offer your skills, and I think people will recognise them. They will grab your hand. They'll want to take you up on that.
Yeah, definitely. It feels like it's an environment where you've just got to put yourself forward, and there is a bit of a network piece to this. I think in terms of people just trying to be proactive and push themselves out there, because there isn't particularly a great service environment to facilitate this. It is got to be driven by an individual.
Yeah. I mean, there are a number of schemes that help. To do that match, because I think generally speaking in charities there is a shortage of trustees. The average age of trustees is something like in their 60s. Boards are often when people retire because they've served their term limit. Trying to find replacements is difficult. So if people are available, there are definitely spaces for them. And there are a couple of schemes. There's one coming up in November each year. There's a scheme called Trustee Week, which celebrates trustees of charities. And I think as part of that, there are a number of events that try and match people who are thinking about becoming trustees. So there are opportunities like that. There's a charity called Trustees Unlimited, which tries to link people from the corporate sector. There are some recruiters that do it, and a company called Prospectus does that.
Brilliant. Well, I'd like to say to you as well that I think for all of our team walking around every day over the last couple of years, we know what's gone on around here. So we're really seeing the impact of what you guys are doing. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's great. Thank you. Cheers.